Golly, that's good.
I haven't found my first Blanton's.
Wow. That's different. I really like that.
Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud.
Yeah, now I'm gorgeous.
Although probably fuzzier was better.
Okay. So this is not what I expected. Howdy, howdy, howdy. It is Thursday. It is time for the Bourbcast, and it is our 100th Bourbcast. 100. When I started this 100 episodes ago, I didn't even know I would do this more than 5 times. I didn't know I'd do it twice. And now we're at 100 episodes, and I cannot believe it. It's really cool, and the fact that I have people watching, Zachary's with, hey, Zach, how you doing, brah? It's just cool to have you here. I'm glad you're here, and we're doing this the 100th time, and this isn't the end. I've got lots of booze to drink, so we're going to keep this going, and I don't even know where it's going to go and why. We're just going to do it because it's fun. Okay? I mean, sometimes you just got to do it because it's fun. Hey, Paul, tonight, you were the person who decided on what we're drinking. You suggested 1776 because it's 100 proof, 100th Bourbcast. Excellent suggestion. I did some research on it, and the reviews on this are kind of all over the place. So we will do that. I'm going to go ahead and get this started. What did you say? Made it. Yeah, baby. I'm glad you're here, not at work. All right, we're going to start off with the bourbon. My favorite. Oh no, wait. Okay, yeah. I'm going to pour it just to get it started. But a friend of mine gave me a little gift today, and he wanted me to try it, and I'm going to tell you I wasn't going to open it, even open it, let alone try it, without it happening on camera, because you are going to love this. This is just one of those special things that happens on the 100th episode. So I got out a vintage glass. This is that vintage rocks glass that I have. It's kind of smoky on the bottom, one of my favorite glasses. I don't use them very much anymore because one of them, I had 6 of them, and now 2 of them are broken. I've only got 4 left, so I'm stopping the use of those because I don't want to break any more of them. But check this out. This is a Mount St. Helens commemorative bottle of Jim Beam. Jeff is watching. Hey, Jeff. I can't read it, Paul. I'm at work just hiding for a bit. All right, well, I'm going to try to do this in a half hour. We got a lot going on, but I'm going to try to do it in a half hour. This is Mount St. Helens. What was it, 82, 83 that erupted? This bottle is a commemorative edition of Jim Beam from that time, and it even has on the back a little vial of ash from when the volcano erupted. This came from somebody's collection who is not with us anymore, and it has been donated to the cause. And I'm going to open this and try it right now. Now, if I pour it and it's chunky or something, I'm not going to put it to my lips. But I'm going to open it, I'm going to pour a little bit out of it, and we're going to do the test. We're going to see if it's all right. I want to put my glasses on because I don't want to end up breaking this accidentally. Okay, so that's just a cork cover. That's the smoke and the ash plume from the volcano. It may not open. Oh, yeah, it did. Oh, it's a screw top. All right. So far, so okay. Looks okay. Smells okay. I don't think I can read the date on the back of this bottle. It's 80 proof. It's the same as it is today. Jim Beam. Oh, here we go. 8:32 a.m. Sunday, May 18th, 1980. Mount St. Helens erupted with some awesome results. And again, that's some of the ash. Okay. Now, you've all heard the same thing, that if bourbon is stored correctly, it'll be fine, hundreds of years later. Gonna put it to the test now, because I don't know how this was stored. I'm hoping he stored it responsibly. But again, this is an opaque bottle, so light isn't going to get to it. The only thing that would be a problem is if he kept it in some place that was like warm. So now, if I erupt like Mount St. Helens after drinking this, I'm going to make sure that's on camera too. So everybody out there is tossing their lunch with me. By gum, it held up. It tastes just ever so slightly different than the pours of today. I don't know why, but it's very sweet. Now, this bottle's been opened. It didn't come to me sealed. It had been opened once before. Matter of fact, the top of it is just a little bit cracked, but it's not enough to let air in it. It's pretty good. There you go, from 1980. That's awesome. All right. I'm going to very carefully put the top back on it. There we go. Mount St. Helens commemorative bottle of Jim Beam. This is now a prized possession. I love this. Okay. That's one of the neatest things I've ever seen. That's so cool. I never thought I'd have a bottle like that, and now I do, and I'm just really excited about it. All right. So let's get into what Paul suggested before he has to go back to work. The 1776. There's a lot about this. The distillery that this came from is known as the Pepper. It's right there on the front, the James E. Pepper. It's supposed to have been the, well, let me just read this because I'll mess it up. Established in 1780 during the American Revolution, the Pepper family brand is the oldest brand of whiskey made in Kentucky. I've seen several brands that have said that. Okay. The brand was finally called Old 1776 by its descendant, the Colonel James E. Pepper, who is also credited by some as the person who introduced the Old Fashioned to the world after it was invented by a Louisville bartender in his honor. Had some JB from 1974, good stuff. Yeah, I never thought I'd get to try something this old, and I'm really impressed that it held up. The award-winning 1776 label was launched in 2012 in partnership with other distilleries to revive the old brand and has since gone on to much acclaim in the world of whiskey. One of the things that is a criticism of this from one critic that I read is that it's MGP. And he said it's not even the good MGP bottles. I had other guys said this is some of MGP's best stuff. They have opened their own distillery. Currently, though, they are still using MGP juice out of Indiana. So, the Pepper family brand of whiskey is an iconic Kentucky whiskey brand initially produced during the American Revolution. Family built and operated two main distilleries, first founding the site that today hosts Woodford Reserve, which is a beautiful facility, and later the James E. Pepper Distillery in Lexington, which was the largest distillery in the United States at one point in time, and also was one of the few distilleries that was allowed to distill liquor as medicinal during Prohibition. So, during his tenure, Pepper whiskey, or Old 1776, was a favorite of Presidents Andrew Jackson and Ulysses S. Grant, and he drank it on the battlefield, by the way, and was preferred by Daniel Webster. Sometime between 1958 and 1967, the industry got hit, and the brand and the distillery were abandoned for over half a century. In 2008, the brand was relaunched by whiskey entrepreneur Amir Pei, who is a descendant of the original distiller, Pepper. A decade-long campaign of thorough historical research and collection of historical materials was used to retell the lost story and to distill new stocks of Pepper whiskey. They even acquired a letter that was written to Pepper himself detailing the exact mash bill and recipe used to create Old 1776. To initiate the relaunch of the brand, they again partnered with MGP. After a multi-year construction effort, the historic Pepper Distillery, which after 50 years of neglect had fallen into really a mess of disrepair, was rebuilt and restored. In December 2017, the distillery once again began distilling whiskey using the same historic recipe as when it shut down in 1967. And a lot of times we hear that and we go, bull. This is not the same recipe. You're approximating. This was the real recipe. He did the research and he found that letter. So this is the actual original mash bill. That's kind of cool. I like that. All right, so this is 100 proof. It is not bottled in bond. It's 100 proof. It is unfiltered, not chill filtered, 60% corn. It's considered a high rye, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley in the mash bill. It's aged 3 to 4 years, distilled by MGP, cut to proof and hand bottled in the James E. Pepper Distillery. They say using water from the limestone well. I call BS on that. BS. I call on that because they don't do that. They don't use a limestone to cut it. They cut it with reverse osmosis water. So, if they do it, they do it. I don't believe it. Okay. Let's give this a shot. Does not present itself as 100 proof. I like the mouthfeel. It's got a butteriness to it because of that unfiltered. You know I like that. That unfiltered. I went to the liquor store today and to pick up this stuff. And we got talking about Old Tub, which is a Jim Beam product. And that's unfiltered as well. I don't know what you're showing me. I can't see it. What is it? Okay. I have a live studio audience. The guy who brought me this Mount St. Helens thing, he brought steaks, made dinner. The steaks were fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay. See if so my first impression of it, I do like the mouthfeel. It's very nutty. It's got almost a chocolate note to it. Jeff, I'm seeing you bouncing in and out and in and out and in and out. Do you have a bad connection? Or is it me? There, you just did it again. Hey, Charles is watching. Hey, Charles, how are you? I'm drinking. Imagine that. All right, so what they say is, for the notes, rich bourbon sweetness and a rye spice. I'm not getting that typical rye spice, the baking spices. I'm not getting that. You're shocked, I know. I suppose a little bit of that rye spice is in there. It is a high rye, but I'm not getting the toasted cereal notes that I would normally get off of a high rye. This is definitely some really nice bourbon tones to it. Vanilla, honey, cloves. It says chocolate. I got chocolate. Very, very nice. Nice pour. I like this. The one guy thought it was too thin. Another guy didn't think it was very good barrels. I disagree. I think this is a nice pour. I'm not going to put it in my top 25 or anything like that, but it's a nice pour. And it's not very expensive either, which is nice too. I don't remember what the price point was. I didn't keep the receipt. I normally don't like to revisit the scene of the crime, so to speak. So, all right. Do the water test on this. Now, since it's unfiltered, I'm thinking that it's going to make the mouthfeel even more buttery, so we'll see. Can you believe this is the 100th time I've done this? Man, it's so fun. All right. Okay, here we go. Boy, that opened up. Woo! Now, okay, so a little bit of that ethanol came back. It wasn't even there neat. Now with a little bit of water, it opened that up. The flavors just exploded. The mouthfeel is a little more buttery. There's a lot, woo-woo. There's a lot going on in this glass now that I didn't get when it was still neat. There's just, I'm getting orange zest, salted caramel, not caramel, but caramel if you have a degree. That's salted caramel, hazelnut. That really opened it up, and it did add a little bit of zest to the mouthfeel, to the palate. The salted caramel is kind of in concert with a nice, like, butter. I know I said the mouthfeel was buttery, but I'm actually getting notes of butter. This is tasty. I like this. This is so unusual. It's different than anything else I've ever tried. And on water, just opened it up. It was really quite good. All right. Let's do the ice test after I finish this. That time, I got some of the rye notes. That time I did. Okay. The spice, not the toasted cereal, but the spice, that rye spice. So, kind of cool. All right. Time for an elegant ice sphere. My fingers. All right. I'm moving along because we got a lot to do. I'm not even halfway done. There's a lot going on. All right, that ought to do. Hey, Quinn, how are you, man? Yeah, Charles. I thank you. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. I don't know what was going on. My phone said it was over with, and my computer said it isn't, and I don't know. Thanks, Bill. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So far, I liked it neat. I liked it even more with a dab of water in it. So now let's try it over ice. I hope it surprises me. All right. Homer's watching. Homer, welcome to the show, man. I think your first time here, aren't you? I'm glad you're watching. It's really cool, dude. Thank you. So on ice, what I'm getting is a lot of salt. The salted caramel, the butter, but the salty part of it is just really popping. Hazelnut's still there. I'm not going to tell you that I like this that much over ice. I mean, it's still got flavor, more flavor than other ones that I've tried, but it just, and it doesn't fall apart. It just is different, and I think on water is probably the way to have this one. Moving on, let's go to. Will you turn that off?
Turn that off.
All right. Now let's go to the rye. I don't want to drink too much because, like I said, I got more I'm doing. So when you think about 100 proof, you know that Bottled and Bond is the government's oversight of booze. They started the Bottled and Bond Act because people were giving people what they said was whiskey when it wasn't. It might have been bad whiskey, or it might have been just dishwater that they spit tobacco juice in to give it the right color. Could have been anything. So they got annoyed by it, and they started the Bottled and Bond Act so the government could oversee the processes of making whiskey. That's Bottled and Bond. Now today, when you see Bottled and Bond, it still means the same thing, but you can also count on the fact that Bottled and Bond is going to be 100 proof about 100% of the time. I think 100% of the time. And there are lots of different bottles that are Bottled and Bond. For instance, the very, very popular E.H. Taylor small batch. This is 100 proof, Bottled and Bond. And they're going to present themselves with different expressions. Some of them are going to seem hot at 100 proof, like for instance, the Evan Williams. This is Bottled and Bond. This is 100 proof. And to me, this is a little more rough than some of these. Now, it's not aged as long. I think 4 years is Bottled and Bond minimum. But this one to me is a little bit rough compared to this one. Another Bottled and Bond that I really, really enjoy is the Henry McKenna 10-year. That's a fantastic pour. All these are 100 proof. All three of these are Bottled and Bond. Another one that I really enjoy, and this was bottled in bond, but it's a rye, and that's the Rittenhouse. I just recently finished my bottle of Rittenhouse, so I had to get another one because I really enjoyed that pour. So here are two bottles that are 100 proof but are not bottled in bond. So for instance, you've got the Old Forester 100 proof, and then I also have a bottle of the Old Forester rye that's 100 proof. What do you think came from Mount St. Helens? Lester's watching. Hey, Lester, how are you, man? Very good. So these are just some of the bottles that I just wanted to go through them. It seems like every distiller has at least one bottle that's a bottled in bond. That's probably an exaggeration, but you can find a lot of bottled in bond, but you can find a lot of 100 proof. They're not ubiquitous. They don't mean the same thing all the time, but you know that if you have bottled in bond, it's going to be 100 proof. All right, so that was just some mild flexing. I'll put these away now. All right, get these out of the way, and then we'll get to this rye. That was just another feature of tonight's show. All right, okay. So this is, Teresa's watching. Hey, Teresa, welcome. It's our 100th episode. Can you believe it? That's why we're talking about 100 proof. We're talking about bottled in bond. That's what we're doing. And we're drinking a 100 proof 1776 bourbon and rye. And we've already done the bourbon, now we're doing the rye. And I am just hot. I turned up or turned down. Do you turn up the air conditioning or turn down the air conditioning? If you turn it down, does it get colder? If you turn it up, does it get colder? Ponder it. Ponder it. All right. So this is the bottled in bond, no, 100 proof, not bottled in bond. 100 proof rye from 1776. The notes on this one, it's 100 proof. It's unfiltered, just like the bourbon. This is a typical Indiana MGP mash bill because it's MGP juice. 95% rye, 5% malted barley in the mash bill. Aged 3 to 4 years. Cut to proof and hand bottled at the distillery at James E. Pepper. Okay? All right. Hey, thank you, Dick and Jane. Jane, thank you. 100th show. Yeah, isn't that cool? Neighbor 2 doors down. Very good. Yeah, 100 shows. I've done this 100 times. It wasn't always every Thursday, but over the time, I think we started, gosh, would have been, I think late 2020 is when we started doing it Thursday at 7:30, I think, something like that. About the time I started getting the better technology. All right. Wow. That is the most unusual rye. I mean, a lot of them have been unusual lately. The Buzzard's Roost was unusual. And then there was another one I did. It was the Mayor Pingree. This one is, yeah. This one is very floral. If I have to go to the chart, let's go to the chart. All right, here is the flavor wheel. If I'm looking at this flavor wheel, so the flavor wheel in the floral is cherry, tropical, gosh, tough to read, berry, peach and apricot. It has to be upside down, doesn't it? I'm definitely getting, I don't know what geraniums taste like, so it's tough for me to pick that one out. It's not rose, but there's definitely something floral about this. It's very tasty. Me likey. Some of the other notes that are there, honey for sure. I'm getting honey in that for sure. Boy, it's actually really coming out now, the honey. Maybe that's what I'm getting is like a clover honey. Maybe the clover is the floral part of it. That's really unusual. Very, very good. For somebody who thought that this was not the best of what MGP has to offer, I would say you need to go back to beginning. Start drinking the 80 proof Jim Beam again and get your palate restarted because you're so wrong. I know it's all subjective. You're not wrong. Everybody experiences this stuff differently, but gosh, I am not done tasting this one. That is really good. And I didn't give myself a big pour to begin with. All right. We're not done. We're not done. We got a lot more. A lot more. Okay. Definitely something floral. It's not clover, but I am getting honey. Salted caramel. The salt is back. One of the things, if you like salt, you're going to like 1776. Both of these, to me, have presented as very salty. Gosh, I can't place that flavor. I'm going to read the notes. Maybe I'll be able to find it when I read the notes. You just always have to be right. We all like to be right, Jeff. Let's see. Complex and flavorful. Notes of mint. Maybe that's what I'm getting. Cloves, eucalyptus. Chocolate and honey. Okay, yeah. Chocolate, I'll totally agree with. Milk chocolate, not like that Tootsie Roll garbage. Real milk chocolate. Eucalyptus, no. Okay, so if I equate eucalyptus with Hall's, the cough medicine stuff, no. Beg your pardon. But if I equip eucalyptus, he threw me off. What are you doing? He wants to play. He brought me a toy. If you equate eucalyptus, nah, I'm not getting eucalyptus. I don't want to get eucalyptus. I don't want to. They say it's their most popular whiskey, a great sipper neater on the rocks, and makes a perfect old-fashioned or Manhattan. Yeah. This does not have the typical rye notes. For 95% rye, I would be expecting to be like chewing on sticks here. Toasted cereal, those are the normal notes, and I'm not getting that. This is, sometimes, there have been times that I've liked the rye better than the bourbon. One of those was chicken cock. The rye on the chicken cock just blew me away, whereas the bourbon was just kind of okay. So I'll use that in mixers. This is another one that I'm going to do that. I like the bourbon here. This is a good bourbon, but the rye, totally unusual. I would tell you, if you like rye, heck, if you like whiskey, pick up the 1776 rye. I think you're going to really like it. All right. So I still have to do a couple tests on this. Oh, twist my arm for another pour. All right. I still have another one I'm going to do that you don't even know about yet. It's a surprise. All right. I like doing it this way. I mean, it's only maybe a quarter ounce that I'm putting in there, but it's enough. Because I like my whiskey neat, and to add just a little bit of water sometimes is all you need. All right. Okay, so this on water isn't as successful as this on water. The rye changed only slightly. Some caramels came out. Some of the typical rye notes came out. The sticks and the leaves and toasted cereals and things like that came out a little bit. I'm not going to say I love it on water like I did the bourbon. The bourbon just exploded with flavor. The rye is good just the way it is. It did open it up a little bit. I think it would still be great in a drink. So, just like the bourbon though, adding a little water really added to what I perceive as more salt. Made it really salty. I don't need to be more salty than I am. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. So one more test. I am going to perform a faux pas. Please don't skewer me over this. But I'm going to put the rye over the same ice sphere that I did the bourbon. That's a no-no. I don't care. That's plenty. Okay. Give it a little spinny spin. Now I can't wait to get out of work at 7 a.m. Going to open my 2 bottles. I think you should. I think you'll like them. And I think you should give them the same treatment, Paul, that I do, is to try it neat, try it on water, try it on ice. See how you like it the best. You don't have to pour a lot out of it to do that. I like big pours. But you don't have to do like I do. Try it small, and then enjoy it from there. I think you're going to like your pours. This was a good suggestion, Paul. Thank you. And the picture, I like the picture. I'm going to show you the picture. This is the photo that is the official photo. That is not a fake background. I actually do have a copy of the Constitution that I put behind those 2 bottles. And that was my grandmother's flag that hung out in front of her house for the whole time she lived in it. My grandfather built that house. It was a Sears catalog house that they bought for $5,000. It was a single level house. He bought it in cash, and they built it there. And then later on, they did add to it. They put a second layer on it, second story on it. And that's where she lived until like 2 years before she died. So at the age of 100. Yeah, but that is an actual, I do have a copy of the Constitution. It's actually on parchment too, which is really cool. I ought to frame it, but I just haven't done it yet. Will do. Good. Are these readily available? Yeah, dude. Daniel, I walked right in there. They were. Top shelf in Beverage Barn. But wherever you happen to go, they're not allocated. They're not going to be tough to find. Like I went into the liquor store today. They had a whole shelf full of Weller SR, the Special Reserve. And I asked, how are you on a Thursday with a full shelf of Weller? And the guy behind the desk said, it got buried in stuff last night. We didn't put it out until this morning. So they normally do their releases on Wednesday, and here it is Thursday, and they hadn't put them out yet. So now they got a full shelf of Weller, and I'm laughing. It's hilarious. I love that. But they said that Blanton's came in, and of course, they had the new Kentucky Owl. The new Kentucky Owl is a lower price point, and it's a different blend of several different years, and they had that out. They had 5 or 6 bottles, and they gone. And it's cheaper at Kentucky Owl. Nobody wants to pay $125 for the confiscated, but I would pay the $125 for the confiscated because it's that good. But so that went, and then the Blantons went, of course, like that. So the Weller wasn't even out until today, which is pretty hilarious. Okay, so the rye over ice presented more pleasantly to me than the bourbon over ice. The flavors are muted, as you might expect. Anytime you cool down a whiskey, the flavors are going to be muted. And they are muted, but again, that floral side of it, that honey side of things, is still there. It didn't knock it down. It didn't kill it. I think it survived a little bit better on ice than the bourbon did. I might be turning into more of a rye fan. I'm not changing the name of the show, okay? I'm not doing a rye cast. Broadcast is a complete bastardization of broadcast. Bourbcast, broadcast. See how that works? All right. Okay. Now, there's 2 more things I'm going to do. Great. I live right by Bowling Green. Good. I don't know if they'll have it or not. They should. It's not allocated. So they should. The Bowling Green store is a pretty good store. The clerks tend to be a little snippy, but the store is a good store, and they get stuff that other stores don't get. So they should have it. If they don't have it, I'd be surprised. But somebody else in the area will have it. So who we got? Robert. Hey, Robert. Hey, Jeremy. Thank you, sir. I hope you're feeling better. Jeremy just kind of got rushed into emergency surgery, and I hope you're feeling better. Thumbs up. Praying for you, man. And Robert, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. We are doing the 1776. The thing about this is it was started by James Pepper. James Pepper brought the old-fashioned into the world. So guess what we're going to do? There are two different ways to do an old-fashioned. One of them is to make it in the glass just the way it is. The other way is to do it this way. I like it better this way, so that's how we're doing it. So we're going to grab, the bourbon of the rye. They're both 100 proof. Rye. And I forgot my jiggers. Crap. It's all right. It's all right. I can approximate. Now, this is a guy that we haven't brought out for a while. If you don't remember George, let me tell you about George. George is my ice bucket, my prized ice bucket. He comes with a hangover and an ice bag on top. And he's named George because he closely resembles the previous owner of this ice bucket, which was my father, whose name is George. Now, maybe you don't see a resemblance, but I see a resemblance, okay? So being that this is the 100th episode, I thought, you know what? We'll bring George out again. We'll celebrate a little bit, and we'll do George. So we're going to, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it. I still have a job for you. I just got to save some money. And then we'll do it. Jeremy is a woodworker, craft maker, does all sorts of good stuff. 3 Oaks, is that what it's called? 3 Oaks? All right, so we're going to just guess here. 1, 2. Thank you, Paul. It's telling you lies. It is. It is. So I didn't bring my jigger, so I'm just going to do it hoping that I have it halfway right. 1, 2, with a little sploop. And then, let's see, and then we got the Demerara simple syrup. Doesn't take very much, about a 1/4 ounce. And then I give a little stir. Ah, George. Karen's watching. Hey, Karen, how are you? I was just talking about you tonight. We're talking about the family ties. We actually got into the discussion because of the George cooler. It's true. All right, so then I take that. I thought I brought my strainer out, but I don't see it. Shucks. All right, so I guess we'll do it this way. You see it there? All right. So because Pepper introduced the old-fashioned to the world, I'm having an old-fashioned. I forgot 2 things. Sorry. We got to add the cherry. That's a sloppy-ass cherry right there. Ew. It's getting thick in there. And, of course, the glorious orange peel, which needs to be expressed. If you don't believe in this, you have to test it. Get an empty glass with nothing in it. Do that. Don't do anything else. Then smell the inside of the glass. Trust me. There we go. And there we go, the old-fashioned. All right, one more thing to do. One more thing. Well, 2 more things. And then I'll let you go, I promise. Okay, the first of it is to tell you what's going on next week. I have wrestled with this one for a little while. These were recommended to me, and I hesitated, and then finally I ordered them, and they took forever to get here. They came by private courier, but I'm finally going to try them next week, and that is Fry Ranch. I have the bourbon and I have the rye, and we're going to try them both next week. There's a guy that's on one of the pages, and he talks about Fry Ranch incessantly. It's almost like he's getting paid, but he's not. I asked him. He's not getting paid, but he loves Fry Ranch. So next week we're going to delve into this. These are really big bottles, so it was worth the purchase. Now I understand they have single barrels. They have very special picks that are supposed to be even better than both of these. So, but I'm going to try their flagship first. The Fry Ranch, this is the bourbon whiskey. This is, oh shoot, I can't even see it, but the bottles are huge. It says it's 750 milliliters. It's bigger than that. This has got to be a liter. And then this is the rye. So this is next week. Next Thursday, we're getting into the Fry Ranch. Okay, now, this is the 100th episode. I've said that a couple times. The very first episode, and I had somebody that suggested this. I had two people that suggested this. So we're going to do it. The very first Bourbcast that we did it wasn't even on Beautiful Bourbon because that didn't exist yet. And I did Peerless Bourbon. And it was a terrible Bourbcast. If you want to watch it, it was done terribly with technology that it doesn't look as good as this, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I wasn't a bourbon steward yet, and I knew very little, but I knew I liked bourbon. And so the Peerless was one that had been recommended, but I didn't know at the time that there was a big difference between the bourbon and the rye. And I had found this Peerless, and I saw that the Peerless was like $30 cheaper than the rye. So I bought the bourbon. So this was my first Bourbcast. So we are going to get into this and get it. And somebody suggested that I do this and that I go back and I think, see what I think of this. Because right now, my memory says that the Peerless Bourbon is still in like my top 25. We're going to find out. Kevin is the one who suggested that. So, Kevin loves the show. Kevin's a good guy. He's camping. He's pulling a camper this weekend. He's always doing something. Playing volleyball, pulling a camper. All right. So, who we got now? Chaz Shoop. Hey, man. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. Chaz is watching. Hey, Chaz. How are you, man? So this is the 100th Bourbcast, and we're going back to the roots to retry our very first Bourbcast bourbon, Peerless. If this disappoints me, I'm going to be really upset. Not really upset. I'm drinking bourbon. Come on. This is not 100 proof. This is 110.6 proof. A little outside the theme. That's okay. All right. Give it a little air. For those of you that missed it, that you weren't here yet, I got to show you this. This is a gift that just came to me today. This is 1980 vintage Jim Beam. This is in the Mount St. Helens bottle. It has a little thing here on the back with actual Mount St. Helens volcano ash in it. It's still intact. I tried the bourbon when we first started. It's actually still good. It has a screw top underneath this plume of smoke and ash. I just wanted to, those of you who are late to the show, you didn't get to see this, and I wanted to show it to you because this got gifted to me today, and it had been opened, but it had been stored properly, and it's actually very, very good. All right. Okay. So this is the Peerless Bourbon. Joseph watching. Hey, how you, man? What time is it? Oh, I'm going a little late tonight. I'll stop soon, I promise. All right. We just had so much to do. It's the 100th episode. All right. What do we got? What do we got? Very interesting. Most unique decanter. Yeah, I know it is, right? So this depicts the volcano eruption. Ash. Down here's the lake. This is obviously is just as it went, because when it blew, the entire, this whole mountain just flattened out, just blah, into a big old landslide. It looked completely different after the eruption than before it erupted. So, my friend Tom, his father, Tom Sr., passed away January. And they're still going through everything. They're still auctioning things off. They're still, doing all the estate stuff. And this was found. And instead of putting this in the auction, Tom Jr., the eldest of the four children, brought this to me. And this is now a prized possession. I had a sip out of it. I'm going to give him a sip out of it. And that's maybe the last sip that'll come out of it, because this is an amazing find. So, okay. All right, back to the Peerless. Not without me. I would love to try that. It's Jeff and Jeremy. It tastes a lot like regular Jim Beam, but it's just a little bit different. And maybe it's because of time, or maybe it's mash bill, maybe it's recipe. You don't know what happened since 1980 when Mount St. Helens erupted. But that's history, man. I might get buried with this, or have it somehow set into the concrete of my tombstone. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't decided if I'm going to have a tombstone. I may be cremated and mixed in with the bourbon you're drinking in 20 years. Ha ha! No. I can't do that. You're drinking KZ's ashes. No, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. All right, so this is the Peerless, the very same bourbon that we started the Bourbcast with. Let's see what I think of it. I wasn't wrong. That's good. It's a higher proof than what I've been drinking, and I feel it. That ethanol is kicking me just a little bit. I know I'm missing comments here. It can be where your ashes are stored. Dude. Wouldn't that be a great ash receptacle? I think I better empty it first, though. Otherwise, if they smell my ashes and they get bourbon, they'll think I'm a big drinker. All right. Okay. It's the ash that gives the smoky taste. Yeah, right? That's gross. That's human smoke. Ew. It's not going to smell like hickory. It's going to smell terrible. Yeah, so I was right about this. The Peerless is fantastic. This is my first Bourbcast ever, 100 episodes ago. I don't know what I'm going to do for the 200th episode. I might die of liver damage by then. I don't know. And get cremated and put in that bottle. See how I did that? It's a round. It's what they call a round. All right. So that is it for this episode. We did the 1776, which I really like. I like the bourbon a lot. I liked it better on water. The rye is tasty just as it is. It doesn't get better on water or ice. They're both good. Try them out. The rye is very floral to me compared to other ryes, so you might try that. Peerless is, that's just fan service. It has to do with the very first one we ever did, so I really like that. And of course, next week we're going to get into Friar Ranch. These are a Nevada product, and one that it was very highly recommended to me, so it better be good. Because what I went through to get these, it better be good. That's all I'm saying. All right? Okay. All right. Thank you for joining me on the 100th episode. I can't believe we've done that many. I am absolutely flabbergasted that I've gone that long, and still don't know what I want to do with this at the end of the day. But you've been with me the whole time, and I appreciate it. I have fun doing this. I hope you have fun watching it. If you have suggestions, things that you want me to do in the shows, whether it's drinking the product that you like, or doing a drink, or getting a mullet like Aaron wanted me to do, I'm not doing that. But if there's things that you want me to do in the show, try out, just let me know what you want me to do. Eventually, maybe this summer, we are going to do some traveling. There are several bars that have invited us to come, and I'm looking forward to that. And then we may actually take a live Bourbcast to Moonshine University when I get my executive bourbon steward status, if I pass it, if I don't flunk. So there's some things we got planned. There's some things we're going to do. We're not going to stay at the table all the time. There's more we're doing. So again, thank you so much. 100 episodes. I couldn't be more giddy about it, and I'm glad you were here to see it. So enjoy your evening. Enjoy Memorial Day coming up. This is National Sherry Day, so if you feel like celebrating, have a sherry. I was thinking about doing a cocktail with sherry in it, but I thought, this guy is known for his old fashions, so that's what we did. So you guys have a great rest of your week and your weekend, and we will see you next week with Friar Ranch right here. Thank you again. Thank you.